couple weeks ago, I posted the first video on the Life Skills channel, and it was about tool restoration. I'll put a link to it in the description of this video. Folks have asked for more of that, showing the process. So I brought my video camera down to my workshop and restored a few more tools. These 3 pairs of pliers. So let's have a look. Okay, so you can see these tools weren't in as bad a shape as the first set of tools, but they still could use a little work. So the first step is if you can disassemble any of the tools, that makes it easier. So I took apart this pair of channel lock pliers here. Okay, and we're going to do a quick removal of the loose rust with the wire wheel here. Okay. I'm going to apologize in advance that because of the camera placement, it's really hard to see what I'm doing here. But suffice it to say that you don't have to go crazy at this point. You're not trying to get it perfect. You're just trying to get the loose rust off. You can also use, if you don't have a wire wheel, okay, you can use a hand wire brush. Okay, these are cheap. This is Dollar Tree wire brush, and that's fine. It's a little bit more work sometimes, but it also lets you get into some areas that you can't get easily with the wire wheel. The wire wheels themselves are also inexpensive, and you can just use them in a regular electric drill. You don't need to have a bench grinder to use them. Okay, so like I said, I'm just sort of going over these quickly to remove. The chemicals we're going to use are going to remove the rust, all the rust. Okay, so this just makes it easier for the chemicals and doesn't use them up as much, the rust remover. But that will get rid of all the rust, and then we'll wire wheel them again to clean them up, and the rust won't come back. Small parts are a little tricky. You will remove a little skin in the process, so you might want to use the hand wire brush for those. Okay, on to the chemical bath. So I talked about the rust remover in the previous video, And so what you want to do is you want to put the tools in a plastic container and make sure they're not touching if you can. That makes it easier for the rust remover to get to all the surfaces. The rust remover I use is not particularly dangerous. Okay, so you don't have to worry too much about getting it on you or spilling it. You can see by the color of it that I've used this several times before. It gets a little weaker each time you use it, and eventually you have to throw it out, but you can get several uses. Okay, this is the next day. I'll let it sit overnight. Okay, and so you can see that the rust is gone and there is some residue of the chemical changes on the surface. So we're just going to take these parts out. Don't drop the little ones down the drain. And save the rust remover to use again. The rust remover I use is bathroom cleaner, so it's obviously safe to rinse down the sink. Okay. So, not an issue there. So now you want to rinse all the parts off, all the tools. Nice hot water. And then you want to dry them off. Okay. Paper towels work best for this. Because some of that chemical residue will come off, and I also find that paper towels dry better. And from this point on, water is the enemy. Okay, water is always the enemy of tools. So we'll get them all dry, and then we'll go back and wire brush them again to get that residue off and get them all shiny clean. Okay, trying a different camera and computer. Unfortunately, the bench vibrates with the bench motor, so sorry about this. But as you can see, the residue comes off very easily. Okay, so this isn't a lot of work. And we just want to get it all off and see the nice clean shiny line. Not putting very much pressure on it. Yeah, you've seen me wire brush enough, so we'll just zip through and skip on to the next part. Okay, once they're all cleaned up, again, water's your enemy, so you want to give them a good soaking with WD-40. Okay, as I've said, the WD stands for water displacement. Okay, so it was designed to push away any of the water that's on the tools, any microscopic bits of water. So you spray it, you douse them really good, and you let it set until all the volatiles have evaporated. And what you're left with is sort of an oily mess. Okay, and you just want to wipe that off the tools, okay, which will leave a very thin coating of oil on them to protect them. Okay, so all the water has been pushed away, and we're just leaving a very thin coating of oil on the tools. Okay, if your workshop is humid, like mine is, especially in the summer, it's in the basement. Okay, it helps to oil these tools down every once in a while, just to keep them from rusting. So again, you don't want them greasy. You want to wipe as much of that off as you can, but it will leave a microscopic coating on the tools. Okay, we'll just put this back together now. Fumbling it as much as possible since I'm on camera. Can't have it look easy, right? Just test that and adjust it till you get the tightness where it should be. Maybe a little looser there. There you go. And you're all done. Okay, so that's an American-made tool made in Buffalo, New York. Okay. Back when we made tools in the U.S. It's another Western New York tool, crescent. And that's all there is to it. Okay, it's a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of chemistry, and then you end up with a really nice, new but better made tool.